What's going on, baby? It's your boy Slick Cactus, and today we are going to be showcasing a Titan build that is super fun to play and really darn powerful. It is focused completely on survivability. You will be nigh unkillable with this build. In fact, I think I only died once while using this build, and it was this time. And I don't know about you guys, but that doesn't seem like the build's fault. that was a Bungie death. That wasn't on me. So, what the heck is going on with this build? Well, basically, what we're doing here is stacking as much damage resistance as you can to make those boss stomps turn into a gentle nudge, to make those hive blade barrages turn into a feather shooter. It is really something to behold. Now, this build, we're going to start with the mods here because it's really based around one in particular, and that's going to be Well of Tenacity. Now, this says picking up a Void Elemental Well reduces the damage you take from combatants for a short period of time. Now, the problem is that short period of time. When you pick up this well, it is going to provide 50% damage resistance. And we know this value from the patch notes when it was buffed. It's usually pretty hard to measure damage resistance. But we can actually change its main downside of 5 seconds by putting on Elemental Time Dilation. This stasis mod says elemental well mods that grant time-limited benefits can now stack, increasing the duration of the effect for each copy of the mod you have equipped. So what we're simply going to do is put on 2 more Well of Tenacities on 2 other armor pieces for 3 in total, and that results in us having now 15 seconds of a 50% damage resistance every time we pick up a Void Elemental Well, and that is obviously just incredibly powerful. 15 seconds of being way harder to kill is definitely insane. Now, of course, we need to make Void Elemental Wells, and we're doing so through Elemental Ordnance. Defeating a combatant with a grenade spawns an Elemental Well that matches your subclass energy type. This is one of the most consistent ways to produce Void Elemental Wells. You could also use Elemental Armaments, but there's no guarantee on when you're going to spawn a well from those. Like, those actually seem way more inconsistent. That's why I'm going with Ordnance. So obviously, we need our grenades up as often as possible, and we need them to be doing a significant amount of damage, so we're consistently making those void orbs. So obviously, we're using Bubble for more survivability. Then we do have Vortex Grenade. These are arguably the best grenades in PvE overall. Then we've got Controlled Demolition. Not only is this going to give us 2 fragment slots, but this is going to make our void abilities, our grenades, make enemies volatile, and then when a volatile enemy damages another enemy, that other enemy becomes volatile. And what we're doing here is just, hey, we're going to be throwing a lot of grenades anyways, might as well make those grenades as powerful as possible. Then we've also got Bastion. So this is going to make our tower barricades also provide us with an overshield, just even more survivability. Now, moving on from there in terms of the fragments, the first one is going to increase the lingering effect of our Vortex Grenade. Again, we really want to get kills with it. If we don't, you know, you're in trouble, so this is fantastic here. We've also got Echo of Leeching to give us health regeneration with our melee, and that comes up more than you think. We'll explain why in a sec. And also Echo of Reprisal. Because of our insane damage resistance, we're amongst huge groups of enemies all the time doing just fine, so this is going to trigger actually quite a bit. And then really the missing puzzle piece here, the thing that brings it all together, is the Heart of Inmost Light. This was actually a really underused exotic before this season, but it works very well with Void 3.0 and this build specifically, because what it does is when you use an ability, which is your grenade, your melee, or your barricade, it empowers the other 2 abilities. So empowering means abilities have faster regen, melees and grenades do more damage, and barricades have more hit points. So this is actually insane. You'll see when you put a barricade down, for example, with the Heart of Inmost Light, your grenade regen starts shooting up. So with the Heart of Inmost Light and a good degree of discipline, you're actually able to get your grenade back in those 15 seconds where you have that damage resistance from Well of Tenacity. Not to mention every time you do pick up a well, you get a big chunk of ability energy as well, so that helps too. And again, when your grenade is empowered, it does literally more damage, making it so much more likely to be able to kill whatever enemy you've thrown it at, and again, produce that Void Elemental Well and start this chain. But remember, because you're yeeting out your grenade and devastating enemies all the time, that's also making your melee not only charge faster, but get more powerful. And shield throw combined with controlled demolition and extra damage from empowered, that thing is really darn powerful. That's why we put on the melee kills get health regeneration fragment, because you're getting a lot of melee kills also. However, this is actually just half of our damage resistance puzzle. The other half is using the seasonal weapons with the land tank origin trait. Now this says final blows with this weapon grant increased resilience and additional damage resistance from combatants. So every time you get a kill, you get land tank. It's going to be originally ×1, then it's going to go to ×2, and then ×3. But what degree of damage resistance are we talking about here? And importantly, does this damage resistance stack with Well of Tenacity? Well, I decided to go and find out, which, really just involved me standing in this lost sector getting shot by the sniper over and over again with varying degrees of damage resistance. So you can actually kind of see right here my health bar from getting shot with the normal Vandal. Then I got shot with land tank ×3. Then I got shot with Well of Tenacity, and then I got shot with Well of Tenacity and land tank ×3. Now obviously that's hard to tell apart, so I made this graphic here lining up all the health bars, and you can really see here that land tank provides a small degree of damage resistance. It seems to be around 15 to 20%. Well of Tenacity offers a much greater, again we know, 50% damage resistance, and then importantly, what this test proves is that they do stack together, with the highest damage resistance being land tank ×3 and Well of Tenacity, and with that, you're going to be combining those for a 65 to 70% damage resistance. That is actually insane. Now it should be noted, again, it's very difficult to measure damage resistance, especially because measuring the pixels isn't necessarily reliable, because the health bar in Destiny is not reliable. Like, it actually doesn't represent your overall health, because the health bar starts to narrow down and lower by smaller chunks near the end to make it seem like you're barely alive constantly when you're really half health. Like, when you're half health and your shields are completely down, the health bar is well below half, right? And so that's kind of the issue with measuring damage resistance. However, again, the important part is that we know it's 50% from Well of Tenacity, and now we know they stack. So you're getting more than 50%. Again, I would say the number looks to be 65, 70% damage resistance. Now, land tank does also add resilience, and it seems to be 1 tier per stack, and that's going to affect your overall health. However, it's going to be an extremely minor effect. It is helpful, but it shouldn't affect these tests too much. Like, we're talking like a few more health overall. More importantly, more resilience means your Titan Barricade literally recharges faster when you're at ×3 all the time, which you almost always are. And so what this all means is that we're using the Explosive Personality Grenade Launcher. This is, in my opinion, by far the best of all of the different weapons with the land tank origin trait. It is so easy to get kills with this wave frame grenade launcher, and it has some fantastic rolls. I mean, autoloading Frenzy is phenomenal. It can even get one for all, but honestly, I would go for Unrelenting, which is going to heal you for rapidly defeating targets, which, again, rapidly defeating targets with a waveframe grenade launcher is very easy to do. And when you get those heals, it's just incredible, because the damage resistance is fantastic, but you're still going to lose health if you're constantly being shot at. So just triggering Unrelenting, healing yourself back up, and then having those enemies have to work through 65-70% damage resistance, you're now nearly unkillable. Now, I've also got a kinetic land tank weapon, the Peace of Mind. Just leveling this one up here, it's okay, but I really didn't find myself using this very much using this build, so you could switch it for really whatever primary you want. And then, if we're already relying on a grenade launcher, we might as well pair it with another grenade launcher so our ammo perks can work double, and that's the Parasite. So this thing is fantastic with this build. Like, you are just slaying out with the explosive personality, like I said, getting a bunch of easy kills, and then when you do have a powerful enemy like a champion, a boss, whatever, whip out the Parasite. It's at times 20 for its damage boost, and it's gonna do a crazy amount of damage with a single shot. But there's one last thing I would recommend, and that is actually the seasonal mod, Psionic Forging 2. This is going to increase the duration of the Land Tank Origin perk and the effect of the Haka Breach Armaments Origin trait. And this thing is going to make your land tank, whereas previously, times 1, times 2, times 3, it would always last 5 seconds, and of course it would reapply every time you got a kill, and that by itself is pretty decent, but now this is going to make it last 10 seconds. And this kind of really just brings everything together. Every time you get a kill, or more likely with this grenade launcher, a double kill, you get land tank times 2, you get that chunk of damage resistance, you go throw a grenade, you pick up that Void Elemental Well, now you've got a huge amount of damage resistance. Again, you were just running around, really not worrying about anything, completely tanking damage that should one-shot a Guardian. You're just walking through it like it's nothing. And although this build would kind of translate to the other two classes as well in terms of mods and weaponry, the reason we're using Titan is that when you do get in trouble, like you are a little too overzealous with being in the fight, you just put down a barricade or pop your bubble and boom, you're safe again, and you regen your health, and then you go back to being an unkillable monster. So definitely, guys, try this build out. It is a lot of fun, and yeah, it's really hard to die with this build. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, found this informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus, that is linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.